episode 3 of volume 2.
Are you just making stuff up now?
Season 2. Hey, I'm in charge.
What's this called? What are we doing?
This is the good, the bad, and the orange.
The baddies.
Yeah.
And we
Couple
got
of baddies
we got
and
the
two
baddies,
oranges.
and we've got some stability on the other corners.
I'm not stable.
No, I was referring to Bill.
Thank you.
So our last 2 episodes we covered buyers and sellers in the market, and today I thought we would dig into the odd and obscure facts about Arizona. If someone's thinking about moving here, it's like I liked Bill's story before he ever came here. He said he thought it was going to be like one big sand beach and with no ocean.
Coming from the East
Yeah, because
Coast.
he'd never been to the desert. All he's seen is the old movies of the Sahara
National
Desert.
Geographic.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we come here and, it's not like that.
Like, oh wow, there
Yeah.
are some trees and bushes.
It's more rocks.
Yeah, a lot of rocks.
One of the facts that I liked was it said that you can experience Mexico and Canada from an environmental standpoint without leaving the state of Arizona. And I think that's one of the biggest surprises people have. So they go, I'm going to come here, it's going to be hot, and I'm going to die. Well, hour and a half, you're up in the pine trees.
Right.
Beautiful.
We've got some huge reservoirs, right? Like Pleasant and Bartlett and what's the other one over Roosevelt, and they're building a new one actually to store water because we're out of water, but we have so much water we need more storage.
We have so little water. That is why they're bringing all of those chit plants here.
Exactly.
You know, if we didn't have water, they would
wouldn't be
not
bringing
bring
chit
chit
plants.
plants
You need a
here.
lot of water to produce those things.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is probably one of the biggest misnomers is
Yeah.
we're going to run out of water. And we had Corey Michigan on a couple of years ago, and he was running for Central Arizona Water District Board, and I learned more about water than I could have ever conceivably known. And it's so interesting how much water is actually conserved and how close to 100% reclamation we are. Of course, golf courses are all reclaimed water, but even the cities are now pumping their reclaimed water after purification back into the aquifers, and we have storage issues. They're raising one of the dams because we don't have enough storage, and building another storage lake because we don't have enough water, or we have too much water. And I'm not saying we don't conserve because we need to, but as 58 it was an agricultural state. 2025 we're not, and we use less water now than we did then.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So any of these, what's another obscure fact you guys have run into or someone's asked you about and they've said, no, that's not true?
Well, I think a lot of people, start with the temperature for
Yeah.
one, right? People always think it's really hot, and how does anybody live here in the summer? And yeah, 110, 115 is really hot, but if you compare that to where you might be coming from, I'm from the East Coast. And as an example, before we moved here full time, we'd come out here and we'd visit, it'd be 105, 110, and we'd go back east to be 85. You would think 85 sounds cool and refreshing and nice, but when you take into consideration the humidity, I know it's a dry heat, right? But when you take that into consideration, it's such a huge difference. I would take 105 here any day of the week than 85 and with like 99% humidity. It's like total saturation. So for me, like the difference is like, you can either, when you open that oven door, you have to, cooking something, you get that blast of hot air.
Oh, I love that.
That's Arizona.
Feels good.
When you get off the plane in a state like New York, it's like opening the plane into like a swamp.
Yes.
It really does feel that way. You can feel that moisture. And I don't know, I don't care for it.
I don't like swamps either. That's why they talk about the difference. Some people say, I'll pick Florida over Arizona, and that's okay, but I've never been one for big bugs, crunchy grass, and high humidity and hurricanes.
Yep.
Alligators in my pool.
Yeah.
I like the blow up ones.
Yeah, but
I don't want a mosquito net either.
I don't know.
Oh, the
No,
bugs.
it's
That's
kind
true,
of-
yeah. It's a
I
big
mean,
difference, actually.
we used to say in Minnesota that we had 13 good days of summer because that was the one season before the mosquito hatch and before the thunderstorms hit and the humidity went through the roof. And then all of a sudden it's Labor Day and the winds of November start blowing and it
Before you know
sinks
it, it's
ships
winter.
like the Edmund Fitzgerald and it's tragic.
Yeah.
We don't have that here.
Yeah.
No tragic.
One of my fond memories of growing up in Michigan before I moved here was going to my grandmother's house, and she had one of those like giant screen houses to sit in because you know the mosquitoes and
Mosquitoes.
and they had a beautiful light that glistened a beautiful blue hue, and then it would go zip.
I know.
Electrocution.
A lot.
Everyone has bugs out.
Yeah.
funny.
I mean, it's like it's fun.
Well, it's pure entertainment.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
You know,
well-
so no, we don't have that here.
No, thankfully. When I relocated from Washington, I was a little confused about the type of weather we had at all. I assumed it was 100 degrees year round. I got rid of all of my sweaters
Oh, wow.
and jackets. So
Mistake.
my first winter here, I was in for a rude awakening. I had nothing to warm myself up with. So I had to go out and buy all new sweaters.
Or find a man. No.
Well, I was in college.
Kidding. Yeah. One of the funnest stories I have, like we used to vacation here. We came out here 3 years in a row, and you know, my dad rented a car, and this is like back in the mid '80s, early '80s. Anyway, you know, we pull over like most on the side of the road to take a picture with a giant saguaro, and my dad puts his hand on the cactus.
Oh,
Like,
They are sharp, aren't they?
the shriek of a man, a grown man. But yeah, but Arizona's changed so much too. Like everything was like cowboy and very, you know, back then there was like nothing here. I mean, there was very little here back in the early 80s. So to watch it grow has been interesting.
Yeah.
We always used to have a joke, say just add water, you know, because the city's growing so much. But the amount of condominiums that are being put in, and I mean, just the development in general is just insane. Like I can't even believe it.
It's like they say online monopoly. You know, when you build the houses, they go and they build up. It's it's like on the 101 in Pima where they're doing that new tech industrial park.
Right.
All of a sudden, one day they've tipped up several 100,000 square feet of building.
I drove past that and I was like, when did that happen? Yeah,
I was
exactly.
a little sad. It was blocking my mountain view.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
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 Well, I hope we don't lose the charm and character of Arizona. You know, I love that Old Town Scottsdale has maintained its western charm. And
Yes.
we have
Cave
a lot of
Creek.
Cave Creek, carefree area. You know,
Prescott.
that still
Yeah.
feels cowboy and Old West in a way. You can go down to
Love
Tucson
that.
or
Yeah.
Tombstone. It's, you know, western town experience.
I think Cave Creek they've really perpetuated Old Town by adding more and more rusty lawn ornament shops.
Yeah.
I think per capita you can buy more rusty stuff in Cave Creek than anywhere else.
In
I
the
think you're
world.
right.
Yeah, and quite frankly, when I have an out-of-town guest, that's exactly where we go. You know,
Yeah.
we don't necessarily shop there for ourselves, but if you
It's
want-
just fun.
Yeah,
but
somebody they like it. It's cute and it's different
yeah,
from anywhere else.
100%.
So I think that shows a huge diversity in actually of Arizona that maybe people don't think about. You can go shop for your cowboy hat and your rusty stuff, and then there are those that need to go shop at Kierland and the Scottsdale Quarter.
It's a little more bougie.
Yeah,
You can go to Sedona and get crystals in your
Yeah.
palm red. And I actually read something about Sedona the other day that I never knew. So there are codes as far as signage codes
Right.
for the city. So McDonald's
it's
has
the only one.
only one. It's a blue arches, and it's
Turquoise.
Not, it's not
It's
gold.
it's
Is
the
that
only one.
crazy? I didn't even
They
know.
fought the big man
Oh
and
my
won.
God, Sedona.
I
Yeah,
know.
they're very protective of
And they should be.
their environment.
It's a beautiful place. It's
Yeah.
very special.
And
It
they
really
want it
is.
to be cohesive and blend into the natural beauty and aesthetic of Sedona. Very crunchy and granola up there.
If you
Sure.
notice, I mean, you've been here a long time, you've seen the development, but when you look at certain communities that were built in the 80s and 90s versus what you see being built today, they really pay a lot more attention to the desert landscape. You know, they're not putting in lawns anymore like you would
Correct.
see in areas of Gilbert and whatever.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is like people who move here now, they realize like, no, I want the desert landscape.
Right.
They're looking to get rid of those lawns.
No, they want a cactus. So you show somebody a cactus in their front or
That's
backyard,
a
they
huge
love
request
that.
of mine, a palm tree or a cactus. And I know palm trees aren't indigenous, but cactus, they want something.
Yeah.
I do like the
Yeah.
palm trees though.
Yeah.
That's what I love about like Scottsdale Ranch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
You know, this area, the Sonoran Desert, is the only place in the world saguaro cactus
That's
grow.
right.
It spills down into Mexico a little bit, but that's it. Can't
Yeah.
find them anywhere else.
That's why it's so special and unique, and people don't know that. And people probably don't know that there is an actual saguaro forest, and it is crazy.
Yeah.
So,
It's a national
Incredible.
park.
yeah,
Yeah.
people don't know all these things.
We have lots of natural parks. So, hottest temperature ever recorded in Arizona?
124.
I don't know, 120 something.
I don't know, but I was parked on the top of a parking
I was
garage.
there.
I left my car for a few hours and my temperature gauge said 130. I know that's not accurate because it's
Wow.
a vehicle, but I'm going to say 127.
You are the closest. It's 128.
Wow.
Lake Havasu City,
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
In 1987, probably.
94.
I was probably there.
Coldest, coldest temperature?
In the States.
Yep.
Oh,
I'm going to say.
No, we're going to
Below
talk
zero.
about
I'm going to say
Canada.
4.
4. Okay.
I'm gonna say sub-zero.
Well,
That's broad.
Well, I know. I have a better chance of getting it right.
So infinitely.
there's no prize, Bill. You don't want a gift card to Oman. Okay.
-7.
Okay.
I'll say negative 8.
Survey says
It's like the Price is Right.
40 degrees below zero
No, stop.
at Holly Lake.
Where is that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We should Google that.
Hey, Mr. Producer, quick Google Holly
We'll
Lake.
have to go find that and do a live podcast. from there.
January 7th, 1971.
Okay, well, I don't think they were
There.
accurate.
Yeah, who's measuring that?
I
It's like,
think
Some of it might have been in
get
the
out.
moonshine.
Does it count if you weren't alive?
Yeah, I wasn't even alive.
I was.
Oh my god.
Bill, were you alive?
I was not.
71?
Yeah, I was not alive.
How old are you?
I'm older than I look, huh?
Well, this is awkward.
What are you gonna ask our weight
We didn't
next?
ask you guys.
Rude. Don't ever call me.
125.
Higher or lower?
115. Because I didn't eat breakfast this morning.
What state could fit into Maricopa County? Not state. What state could fit into Maricopa County?
Rhode Island.
Massachusetts.
Yes, Massachusetts.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, that's a
Think
pretty
about
big
how
state.
big. It is, coming from an area where counties were small,
Yeah.
relatively speaking. And then you got Maricopa County, which is
Large.
a freaking state.
Sure.
Massachusetts.
I wonder why they did that. I
Do you
don't
know
know.
what's funny? Being from New York, and like a lot of people that I talk to, of course, they're from New York because that's where my referrals come from. So when I ask them a little bit about, you're familiar with Scottsdale, et cetera, they say they want to live in Scottsdale. What they don't realize is that Scottsdale,
huge.
geographically, it's just a town, is 40% the size of Nassau County in New York.
Wow.
So when you put that into perspective for somebody, like, wow. And
Wow.
then, of course,
It's like-
it can take you 45 minutes to get from one end to the
It's
next.
like 43
you know?
miles north to south.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's so
Scottsdale's
people come in.
huge.
I want to live in Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Right.
Exits on the 101.
Yes.
Right.
And the zip codes, in Scottsdale. People don't realize, the different price points you get into and all.
Wildly different.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's good to know.
And I always say, like, every community, every HOA has its own personality, whether
Sure.
it's DC Ranch or Troon or McCormick Ranch or Scottsdale Ranch.
Boy, isn't that the truth?
They're all very different. Yeah.
And to have a little bit of real estate professionalism in here, it's our job to help be matchmakers
Navigate,
to people
yeah.
within these communities. And we find people from different parts of the country and globally will congregate, in certain areas. Like you might find a lot of upper Midwest people in a certain community, or you might find the Canadians hiding somewhere, or you might find, well, and they're all selling right now. hold on, don't sell. But if you are, call us. But I think that's interesting. You know, we always think that it's just this melting pot of you know, every other person is from somewhere else, but it's not true. People like to be in similar places, and so anyhow, it is a marriage of personalities with communities. And we have some great community experts right here.
And great personalities.
Especially personalities.
Interesting personalities.
I'll tell you what, it's I am one fun broad to buy and sell with. I make it fun.
I believe that.
It better be fun. Life is too serious,
too short.
too hard enough,
Yeah,
like,
you
hard
know.
enough.
And it's emotional. Buying and selling is
Yeah.
it is
Very much
emotional. So you might as well have fun with it.
Yeah, I want to giggle till I cry.
Exactly.
How many species of rattlesnakes have you guys seen?
I don't wanna
I
ever
don't know
see
that
one.
I've even really. I've seen some rustling in the bushes off of a trail. Like
You don't stick
Thomasville
around and
area.
find out?
No, I mean it's interesting.
Could you
but
tell me your?
It's a survival instinct not to just poke into the bush.
There are
but maybe 2.
3?
13
Oh.
different species.
Oh,
didn't
well, I know the
that.
diamondback.
That's what we
Western
seem to see the
diamondback.
most.
Yeah.
At least we think that's it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't,
Andy, have you seen rattlesnakes? Do you like
gross.
them? No? Okay.
It's been a
Just
lot
check.
this year too.
You know what's amazing is the desert tortoise. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that's actually, I saw some when I was hiking on Gateway once, and it was mating season. And
Oh.
Just like National Geographic.
I videoed it. It was hysterical.
Really? You did
I
I
videoed
did.
one
Tortoise
at the Denver Zoo too.
pornography?
They were hugging.
And then snakes. Have you ever seen snakes mate? Like, yeah, I was living in Paradise Valley, and out in front of my house were 2
Huh.
disgusting creatures creating more disgusting creatures.
Like, show me using fingers what that looks like.
Oh jeez.
It's like this, kind of.
And that's a wrap.
You know, they did have something recently in the last few weeks. I think it was on the news, but somebody also posted it online, where they had a rattlesnake and then a Gila monster.
Ew.
Yes.
And it reminded me, and this now I'm
Ew.
dating myself, but it reminded me of like the old Godzilla movies.
Yes.
You know, where like,
Gila
Godzilla
monsters
would fight
are
the
like-
other,
Were they fighting? Is that what you
They
said?
had,
was like a standoff.
they had a standoff.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they went their ways after a
Oh,
bit. And there was no
gross.
roadrunners
There's
to
a
go in
truce.
and go
Oh.
after
Yeah.
both.
The roadrunners are actually crazy too. I've seen
Love
roadrunners with snakes hanging out of their mouth. I'm
Really?
like, well, he's a bad brother. Wow.
Wow.
You know, and then another thing that I saw one time, I was driving through DC Ranch, and there was a dead whatever on the road, and there were 3 ginormous vultures, like eating. I was like, I didn't even know we had vultures. Like, okay.
Did you not watch Looney Tunes cartoons?
Sure.
They
I
had
mean,
vultures on
But I didn't,
when they were out in the desert.
like Wile E. Coyote.
Isn't
really.
nature beautiful?
It really is. It's beautiful and scary all at the same time.
Roadkill.
Roadkill.
Let's see, what was another interesting fact? Rattlesnakes we
How
talked
about
about.
the birthday?
The birthday?
That's
It's
an
February
interesting-
14th.
Yeah, Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I don't know.
1912, right?
Oh.
It is. Look at that, Bill. Way to segue into that. I didn't know it was Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's another
So if you're looking for love,
reason
come to Arizona.
to celebrate
Yeah. Okay.
Valentine's Day in Arizona. You know what 5 C's are in Arizona? Stand for?
Yep. The more important ones, though, are the 3 C's: Cherokee,
Oh,
Cheyenne, and Chaparral. That's the 3
The tribes.
C's.
Yeah.
No, that's the 3. It's a school district.
Oh, okay.
So a certain area, they always say people want to be in the 3 C's. Okay, it's Cheyenne, or not Cheyenne. Yeah, it's Cheyenne Middle School. No, Cocopah. Sorry. So Cocopah, Cherokee, and Chaparral.
Huh.
But I think Cocopah is a K, isn't it?
No.
No,
Oh.
no.
Well, I don't spell well.
No.
That's all
Producer
right.
Alex, is it a K or a C?
It's a C. It's a C.
Come on, Andy,
No,
do it.
no.
He's looking. So you don't want to talk about 5 C's?
No.
Cotton,
Cotton,
cow,
copper,
copper.
citrus.
Yeah.
What's the 5th?
You've only listed 3.
I'm not from here, here. Is it cotton? Did we say?
Climate.
Yeah.
Climate
Copper.
and cattle.
Oh,
Cattle.
I think cattle, yeah.
Yeah, which for anyone living in the Queen Creek area, they had a lot of cattle there.
A lot of
that's
moo
for
cows
sure.
down there.
Yeah,
Love moo cows. Love.
so cute.
So it's funny, like, as you drive around and you see the names of roads, you start to learn a little bit about how they connect with the history of the state and geography. So Pima Road, right? Pima Cotton. What I learned was that we're on the same, was that longitudinal, latitude, whichever the
yeah.
horizontal one is, as, I guess, a certain part of Egypt where Pima Cotton is known for.
Wow.
And
Fascinating.
that makes me want to lead into
Getting new pants.
I love a linen pant.
I love a good linen.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm really into it. I love that they have so much of it this year.
Yes.
But it says
Very
that Arizona
on-brand.
grows enough cotton each year to make more than one pair of jeans for every person in the United States. That is incredible.
but that's not really a linen feel, is it?
No, they said jeans.
I know. That's what I'm
I
saying.
mean, I'll
So-
go for a denim, a white denim. Oh my god, a white denim and like a crisp blouse tucked in French style.
Orange.
I don't think I said orange.
I did.
Probably pink. Pink and orange.
Oh my God.
Let's see. Del Webb built the first 55-plus community here in the country, 1960.
And then proceeded to duplicate it everywhere else.
Brilliant.
Villages in Florida. Yep.
But I think that's some good branding. You know, people they're familiar whether they've gone to Florida or anywhere else. They know that Del Webb has a 55 and up active adult community that will fit their lifestyle.
South Mountain Park Preserve in Phoenix, City of Phoenix, is the largest municipal park in the country. Yeah, I think that's one thing that is another piece that I am surprised at is how many city parks there are and trails in the green belt that goes from, basically from Shea all the way down to Tempe Town Lake, and I think it's a very forward-thinking community, and those are old communities. Go down through Gainey Ranch, McCormick, and all those areas, and yet there's this huge green belt, a couple of golf courses, and lots of paved trails and little
It's
ponds.
an active lifestyle for sure.
Yeah.
You can,
Well, did you know the backstory behind that green belt? It's actually was by design for water runoff. So they were thinking
Drainage,
about
see,
drainage
there.
because we get monsoon heavy rain here every year, and the soil's really dry. It's not absorbent. So
you know
they
there's
were
a-
really smart to put that in to prevent flooding, flash flooding.
So there's 187 city parks in
Wow.
Phoenix. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
way to be of extra value.
Yeah.
And did we know that the farthest northern park now in Scottsdale is just off Ashler Hills and Scottsdale Road, featuring 8 pickleball courts, basketball courts, and you can walk to it from my listing.
And
It's a wonderful community.
Heather is a paid spokesperson.
it's one of my granddaughter's favorite parks.
Insert
Aw,
the realistic
that's so
video
cute.
here.
They can do the things.
And it's covered.
And
All
it's
the-
covered, and it's kind of protected, so
Yeah.
they can go running and
nobody
you're not
knows
doing
about
that kids on a leash thing.
Oh, I love a good leash.
Kid on a leash?
Yeah.
Why not?
I think that was a different generation. Ours, I hope you come back.
In all seriousness, like Phoenix is like the 5th largest city in the United States.
Right.
So it's a pretty big and built out city, and it's only getting bigger. But what I find fascinating, I was talking to somebody, and he's like an avid hiker. So when you think of a city, I don't think you think of hiking necessarily. You always feel like, oh, I have to drive some distance to get there. Then when I looked at all the trails and everything on the map, for him to kind of identify different hiking trails that he could get to based on where he might want to live, they were literally all over the place.
Right.
I'm like, basically you throw a dart, you can live anywhere you want and be within a few miles of a hiking trail. So, it really expands your search quite a bit.
Well, I mean, right in this, Piestoa Peak is right in the middle of Phoenix, basically.
AKA
Yeah.
Squaw Peak.
Yeah, and Camelback, that's a tough hike too. Camelback's
Don't-
really hard.
Tom's thumb.
PSA, don't hike here in the summer.
Yeah, no, please don't. And please don't take children or pets.
That is an October through May
Bring,
activity.
and if you do,
Lots of
bring
water.
lots of water and your phone to call the helicopter and prepare to pay
Let
the bill.
people
Yes.
know where you are
Yeah.
because you may
Yeah.
not have service.
Don't
Yeah.
hike alone.
Anyone ever gotten lost hiking?
Only very briefly in Sedona. I wandered off the trail.
Oh,
It was
wow.
getting dark. And
That's
I was
scary.
With a friend of mine who's a photographer, and he was going out and shooting photos, and then I turned my back, and he was gone. And
Oh my gosh.
so for about 5 minutes, thankfully, but it felt like an eternity. I was lost. I
That's
was
scary.
shouting.
That's scary.
And everything looks the
So-
same. Like, where do you go?
Oh, totally,
right? Yeah.
completely. It's so easy to do, especially in a forest or an area you're not familiar
Yeah.
with. It's totally disorienting. So.
Well, I didn't get lost, but I did get heat stroke
Mm-hmm.
really bad.
Yeah.
And I was down. I mean, it's a thing. It's a thing. So please, and that's coming from someone, I was hiking all the time. Just thought I knew better.
So does that mean
We
you've
have our
given
limits.
up hiking for shopping, or?
No, I mean, it's just kind of, I don't like dirt. So I'm a little dirty. And
None of that,
smelly.
but that's what
I really love a hike, but it's got to be,
Through the
there-
mall.
Well, certainly if
Paint
there's a
trails.
sale, but there and back in a couple of hours because I get a little bored and I'm ready to go to brunch.
Yeah. Which, by the way, there are so many delicious breakfast places now. It's crazy.
Where have you been recently?
Well, I'm obsessed with Butters.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
Butters.
Oh my
That is a
god.
good place.
Oh my god, their omelets are incredible. The pancakes are delicious.
I love panties.
Oh,
You love what?
Pancakes.
Okay, thank you.
the clarification on that.
I just shortened it, made it cute, but sorry, audience.
What can we say? What about you, Bill?
Live.
Since you're
We're live.
fairly new permanently, or sort of permanently, what's your
we've been
favorite
coming
place
out
to
here
go?
Since like 2011, but full time 3 years now. We actually, one of the things that we love is just exploring different places, and I love Careland. We love the greenhouse there. I feel like it's a great little lunch spot.
Yeah.
You can kind of sit outside, and it's got a cool vibe and everything. Of course, the quarter is nice. True food. There's some pretty good food. We typically like to eat like healthier stuff.
Not me.
So
Show off.
Yeah.
No, it's just I don't know. You read labels on stuff, and it kind of freaks you out a little bit these days. But no, there's a lot of good places. I mean, even up in DC Ranch, is it called Ecstasy? What's that place?
Ecstasy.
The place that
Yeah.
burnt down and
Yeah, eggs.
that place is pretty cool. They have a
Yeah.
good menu. There's no shortage of good restaurants. And now in the quarter, we have that crepe place, which is not just breakfast, but also lunch too.
Yeah, and they've got a great happy hour, actually.
Do they?
Yeah.
Heather and I did a little research a few
Yes,
weeks ago
we
and
did.
just checked out their happy hour, for research.
Of course.
And what do we have? A rosé?
Yeah, $5 glass.
$5 rosé.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Huh.
From 3 to 5 p.m.
Yeah, so, unfortunately, we didn't make it back to work that day, but
We did research.
we have a place to recommend.
Yes, it's cute. Yeah, for
You
sure.
guys been up to Ravensview?
No,
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go though.
And I have to tell you, I was not impressed by the food at all. I'm
Well-
also
Now, where is
food,
that?
So
So you go north on Pima all the way to Cave Creek Road. Like you're going towards Desert,
Desert
Mountain.
Mountain.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hang a right, and then you go past Desert Mountain up to Tonto Hills. And it's there. It's a little kind of
Great views, great
Yeah.
location. They usually have like music, which is nice, live music, and the wine's good. You
Yeah.
know, but
No, the food
but
is-
I wouldn't really eat there.
Yeah.
Not if
It's-
you're hungry.
It's for the
Depends on how much you've
sunsets and
got.
ambiance.
Yeah.
It's a place to it's a place to consider. You should go there once.
We have homework.
We do. Did
Well, we
anyone
gotta do some
participate in
research.
Arizona Restaurant Week? No?
When I first moved here, that was such a big deal, and now I don't think I've been in a few years, and I don't know why, but
I just really like it because I get stuck going to the same place, which if you find something you love it, you enjoy it, you go.
Yeah.
But I love trying out new, you get most of the restaurants have a more affordable than maybe what would, if you were to try individual items on the menu, then you have like a,
Like a
12
tasting.
courses and a wine or a beverage tasting menu, and you get to try a new place and feel like you're getting some value, so.
It's funny, speaking of food, and being a kind of a foodie from New York, and I grew up with an Italian grandmother, so she was an awesome, phenomenal cook.
Yeah.
Coming from New York, though, we're always looking for certain things like pizza, right?
Yeah.
And bagels and good Chinese food. And I've actually found a decent pizza place. You might see some of my reviews that I do for pizza places because I'm always trying to share that stuff. So I found a decent pizza place in Scottsdale, Yo Pauli's. And then also there's a really good bagel shop in Gilbert called Buongiorno Bagels.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy's actually from Long Island, and he uses a certain water system. It's called New York Water Systems that mimics the water composition from anywhere in the world.
So do they get that out of the sanitary
It's reclaimed
wastewater?
water, maybe? Yeah, I don't know.
It's great water.
Well, it's like New York water. I didn't
Yeah,
know. I mean,
it's mineralizing it, taking out minerals. It's recreating whatever.
look at them
that's gonna be.
defend New York water.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
That's not what we've seen on
it's
TV.
not the Hudson River. You don't want to even swim in that, much less ingest it, you know?
Oh, God. Wow.
I've never been, so.
So on just as we head towards wrapping up, let's talk. What do you guys see in real estate wise? What's the word for buyers and sellers
Oh my God.
today? Not yesterday. Today.
Buyers are picky right now.
They are just tough.
Yes.
It is like, I won't use the analogy that we said with Tom yesterday, but they come in and they're coming in very aggressively.
Coming in hot.
They're coming in hot. They are very
They're
aggressive.
emboldened.
Correct.
They are. They feel that they have options. They have time on their side. What they don't have on their side is, interest rates, unfortunately. So they're using the market conditions, to ask for what they want.
Well, they've been like smacked over the head for a
Yeah,
number
yeah.
of years, and now they're like, I'm in control. And the intelligent ones are actually engaging in the market. I think the people
Right.
that are they let fear kind of overcome their thought process. They're the ones that are sitting on the sidelines. You know?
Right.
So even though they're emboldened, I think they're in a good position to buy. But you can't be so emboldened that you're just lowballing everything that you
Well,
see,
and-
because that's not going to work.
Well,
That's not even our market.
Right,
That's what
right.
the misconception is that
Yeah.
we're in this
It's the headlines in the,
free-for-all. I
in the
know.
media.
Right.
We're in a basically balanced market, and I think in the end, as we know, people either want to pay fair. They want to get a fair price. Sellers should want to get a fair price.
Right.
And
Well, you end up insulting someone so badly, then it sets a bad tone for the whole process then, and everybody thinks, okay, you counter. It's like, how many counters are you going to want to go through? At some point you have to be realistic and say, maybe this is just not our buyer.
Right.
And when you lowball someone, like I said, it just sets a bad tone.
It does. It puts
know.
a bad taste in the seller's mouth because now they're wondering, is this?
What are you gonna ask
Are you
for?
going to actually perform?
Yeah, and it just sets
It's not a good way to start a relationship.
Yeah, and-
Correct.
When
yeah.
you're that far apart.
Yeah.
It's-
We're
people
going
get
off the market for
emotional. It's an emotional experience for a buyer and a seller. So when a seller, to your point, and I think you were kind of talking about this with the listing you had earlier, you get an offer that's so low that the seller is like, oh, I don't even want to work with those people.
correct.
And they might, they might actually come to the table and make,
Right.
raise their offer to the point that makes sense, but you've already, for lack of a better expression, pissed off the seller.
Right.
And how much more negotiable or flexible are they going to be with you? You're actually doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why it's important to have a professional guide you through the process of buying.
Yeah.
And I think people forget that if they're going to own a house for 2 or 3 or 4 years or more, the little nuance of price today is really immaterial when you look at the long-term trend forever. It's 4%, and trying to time the market is nearly impossible, but you're always going to be up over time. So, anyhow, sellers, any word for sellers, because they're all
Just be realistic. I mean, buyers have a lot of choices, and you know what? If you do get an offer that's not attractive, you can come back to the table. And don't be insulted. Just know that that's just a personality type, or that this person maybe actually just throwing it out there. They don't know what your situation is. They don't know. You might be willing to take that offer if you were in dire straits. But you don't need to react at all. Just keep the emotion out of it as much as possible.
It's
Right.
understanding the why of buying and selling, and then negotiate the best terms and conditions you can, and that will then move on with why you're doing that real estate,
Yeah.
as opposed to,
I think now more than ever, it's really important for a seller to interview agents,
Yeah.
because you have agents that, they're in the business 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And everybody has a different level of experience, different personalities, different marketing plans. And Like, as an example, I had somebody listed a property last week, and they had an agent before me for 5 days. But he didn't realize, because he liked her and he knew her. It was the wife of his UPS driver. That's kind of how he made that decision.
Okay.
And she's a good person, but maybe not the best agent for him. He wasn't having a good experience, and he realized that, fortunately, very quickly. But he could have came to the market in a better way from the start if he went through that interview process and didn't just hire somebody because they knew them. So I would say you really want to interview agents, particularly now, because we are all just a little bit different.
Well, and price is what you pay, value is what you get.
Right.
And so, people will negotiate hire their agent based on what list price someone picks, which is an opinion, right? There's no factual magic to pricing. And so really it's hiring someone that understands your value and can help you get the highest price within that range. I mean,
So this is really important, right? You said opinion, right? It's a price opinion.
Yeah.
And I think it's extremely important to respect the opinion of that professional before you can understand what the value, their opinion of value is.
Right.
Right? Because I think a lot of times, to your point, people hire you based on your fee and the price that you give them for the house. But if that agent doesn't really know what they're doing and doesn't have the experience, well, then their opinion of value might not be all that good.
Well, a lot of agents actually, what I've experienced, I've seen a lot of people, a seller is unrealistic about a price, and they, an agent will maybe say, oh, I can get you that, or I see this value, and then what ends up happening, if the market's not there, it just is price reduction after price reduction, and days on market accumulated. So you got to be realistic.
That's not going to create a positive experience for
It's
anybody.
not an
to
ideal
sell.
strategy, and
No.
ultimately you could potentially get less than
Right.
what you would have if you just introduced it to the market
appropriately.
Yeah.
Correct.
There is the wisdom from some fantastic listing agents. All three of you do a good job. And that's
Thank you.
what's important. I mean, thoughtful, don't buy listings, that's the easy thing. That's your number? Okay, we'll get that. And if it's a number you can't get.
It's a phone call I don't want to make.
I don't want
It's,
to overpromise and underdeliver.
That's right.
Sure.
Satisfaction at the end of the day of my clients is like
Everything.
so above everything else.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I want everybody to have a good experience.
So, yeah.
So we have a list of 100 plus facts about Arizona. If anyone wants that, they can email any one of us at heathermb@longrealty.com and Kaufman
swhomes@gmail.com.
Southwest, and you're Bill McCart.
Bill McCartney at longrealty.com.
Yep, and Jay Jasper at longrealty.com. If you want that list, you got questions, reach out to one of us. We're not here to hard sell you. We're here to be a source for information, especially if you're exploring the wild, wild west to live. We'll show you where Yosemite Sam lives, and we'll show you
Sam, I
that
loved
the
him.
Roadrunner only runs 17 miles an hour max. The cartoon was wrong.
funny.
And please like, subscribe, comment, share, post. I don't know what else we're doing, Andy. Follow us on either YouTube or on your favorite podcast channel. Until next time, on the good, the bad, and the orange. We'll see you then. Goodbye.